Hey!
This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself, I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome on in, everybody. Happy Wednesday to you. Thanks for being with us on the program. It is a Wednesday outside edition of JJ and Alex on the program here with you. We've got lots going on here. Jeremiah Jensen, Alex Kirry. We are set up here at the ballpark at America First Square at daybreak, and it's one of these days that, like, we expect this kind of, we expect cold. It's freaking December.
Who are the Bees playing tonight?
See, now that's the problem, is that you can't bring me to the ballpark without the promise of some baseball, except for we've got the full on the holiday lights and the setup, by the way, just to the walk to get here, the amount of activities here at the ballpark and here at the ballpark at America First Square and everything around it, the Megaplex, everything that the Miller Group has put together right here, the bowling, the games, all the food outlets, everything is like, so everybody from our station and everybody from the radio stations across all of our Salt Lake City stations here in the Bonneville family are present and accounted for. So I'm looking across to Arrow. I also see the news radio booth that's across the way, KSL News Radio, and then FM 100.3 is also across the way. And we are set up where we should be, JJ, at the ballpark next to the putt-putt course over here, the mini golf, which we'll be hitting up at some point here.
Yes.
They even have, they have thought of everything here. They have even the holes are named for the reindeer. So all the reindeer, it's 9 holes. So you got the 8 tiny reindeer plus Rudolph, and then you've got so every hole is named, and even the flag on the hole has all the reindeer's names on it. So come down this holiday season and just enjoy this amazing time here. By the way, as soon as all the lights go, or as soon as the sun goes down fully, all the lights are going to pop on here, and they've got trees across the entire field. They've got lights set up everywhere. It's a beautiful sight to behold here. So we're going to be here all afternoon, and we're going to get here also because This is our company Christmas party here tonight too, man. It's a setting for us to be able to transition straight into awkward work talk straight after we do the show today.
Hey, we work at the same place.
Hey, you.
What's your name?
Wow. Well, I mean, that's part of the deal of us. But then at the same time, there's people that we've known for decades, and so that's always fun. Their families are going to be here. We're going to have a great time this evening here at the ballpark at America First Square. JJ, what's up, man? Did you recover after yesterday's activities? I mean, my heavens, after the day that was, now that we're able to digest it a day later, is everything, you feeling okay? Everything good?
Yeah, that was a wild 24 hours.
It's cool,
the Kalani stuff, and it all worked out perfectly for both Kalani and BYU. Its fans, BYU Nation, has got to be thrilled right now, except for one thing.
What?
The college football playoff.
Oh, the
rankings are rigged.
They are.
There's a conspiracy. They're trying to keep BYU out. They're ignoring BYU completely, even on the show, which just blows my mind. They're being that.
They just keep. It's really wild to me that they go,
they're that bold about it.
We're going to ignore BYU to the point that we're just going to talk.
BYU doesn't matter.
We're going to talk about 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14. And then they'll even put on the screen, they're like, by the way, BYU's 11. They put it in like parentheses, they're all BYU's 11. But for the sake of argument, we won't talk about those guys. Like they're making us look bad.
It's the one team you need to put in there because you see what their record and their resume looks like against the others. It actually stands out.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting too? And
Notre Dame only has one top 25 win.
Oh my goodness! I found myself. Gosh, don't do this. I went down a rabbit hole last night of a comment section. I've done that for a few years.
You went to the comments.
I went to the comments, and it was funny because here was why the comment section was extremely funny. Because it was between BYU and Notre Dame fans. Because it was a post that a Notre Dame blog had put up. It was a big enough blog that, whatever. People were paying attention to it. And I'm looking at this thing, and I'm going, okay, I got to read this because I want to see what Notre Dame fans' take is on this thing. And obviously they're going to put their elbows out for it. Because they ended up, but they felt slighted, and here's why the fix was in yesterday. You know what? Let's get the show officially started because we're already going to bicker about this anyway.
We're all in on this already.
Let's get it going. Let's jump in. We are at the ballpark in America First Square. Of course, tonight we're going to be chatting about all the fun things. It's a Win Ticket Wednesday, all the stuff that goes with that. But kicking off the program, as we always do, it's the cut right here, top of the program. Let's do it.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is What Made the Cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Trajan Wealth brings you this portion of the program at TRAJANwealth.com. It's Trajan Wealth for all your trusted local needs in retirement from financial fiduciaries. So hit them up today, TrajanWealth.com. Okay, JJ. One of the interesting moves in the college football playoff that happened yesterday, the one that like sneakily kind of it got almost everything yesterday was weird because we knew that Texas A&M was going to take a dive. You knew Texas A&M would probably or Texas Tech would go up because of Texas A&M's loss to Texas. Now, what was weird was what was super weird was that they had the They put Notre Dame behind Alabama, and everyone's kind of looking at each other going, and the committee was like, the committee was funny because they were asked about it. So we were actually kind of perplexed. We were in the middle of the Kalani stuff, and we went, oh, hold on a minute. I guess Notre Dame went down to 10 and Alabama went to 9, but whatever, it's the same. And then you start to dive into it and you go, well, so why'd they do that? Well, the answer is it makes it a lot easier when Alabama loses that SEC championship game to instead of let them fall from 10 to 12, because what would be crazy is
they
that
miss the playoff if they lose.
If they would miss the playoff if they lose, especially if they lose and BYU's at 11, and they're looking at it and they go, well, BYU's a one-loss team. These are two one-loss teams. They're kind of looking at them and going, what are we going to do with these guys? This gives them that buffer to be able to say, okay, if we lose, if Alabama loses, what do? Well, let's just have them swap spots with Notre Dame. That'd be a lot easier, Mike, wouldn't it? Yeah, it would. That makes it look a lot better. So that's what they're going to do. And it was a weird flip because people were like, hey, so how did Alabama jump Notre Dame with a close win over a 5-7 LSU team?
Ugly
and the committee, did you hear
over Auburn?
A 5-7 Auburn team.
Yeah.
They beat them, and they go, what? And they said, what was the thought on that? And the commissioner had the freaking guts. Poor Hunter Yurchek, because he did not expect to be in this spot of having to lie through his teeth in front of America on television every week. But here we are. And he goes, yeah, just gutsy play call on 4th down to win that game. And everyone's like, what?
Oh, my God.
Everyone's like, what are you talking about? Yeah, we thought that was a great play call on 4th and 8 for them to be able to convert that.
So
we thought that was
play
great.
Vaulted you one spot?
Why it was such a weird thing.
That's not making any sense.
That we're all looking at each other and we go, hold on, we read through your bullets of what your quote-unquote principles are for how you do this. That didn't come up. And it just doesn't track. It didn't track. And I'm not going to be incensed for BYU fans who are out there because you knew when they were 11 3 weeks ago where they were going to end up even if they won the rest of their games. They would stay at 11 unless there were a bunch of people losing week after week, and those teams didn't lose week after week. And then you realize that losing in your conference championship game, actually that loss will affect you more than the losses in the other conference championships games are going to. Now, what's funny has been the narrative of Miami over the past couple of days, who have turned into this bickering group too, who've been like, can you believe us? Hey, BYU fans, can you believe you guys and us were being left out of this thing? And BYU fans are like, no, we're not the same, dude. Like,
no, they're not.
BYU fans are looking at Miami fans and they're going, no. Don't try to
Miami lost to Louisville and SMU.
Right.
They're not the same. And Miami had their chance in a weak conference.
Right.
And they didn't even make their conference championship game because they lost 2 conference games.
Right, yeah.
They didn't lose 1 game to Notre Dame or Ohio State. They lost to Louisville and SMU in conference. They're not in their conference championship game. Miami should not be under consideration, yet here they are at number 12. And you're right, if BYU loses – and let's say Alabama loses, suddenly Miami could slip into that 10 spot with Notre Dame moving up to 9. And you're thinking, oh, that's why they did this way, to get those brands in there.
Right.
It's a beauty pageant. This whole thing is a beauty pageant. I get it. I know what they're trying to do. And there might be possibly under the directive of a certain TV network that wants things to shake a certain way. And BYU's not in the club.
Yeah, and that's always been the case. Like, I get it. And here's the thing. I'm actually just okay with the idea of, you know what, they're going to fight over this thing. It's worthless to fight over it. The only way that BYU, and frankly the Big 12 overall, would get respect, and I think it's going to help in the future to have a 10-2 Utah team. I think it will help a 10-2 team, if that's Utah, whatever. If the Big 12 could make a name for itself in not just kind of being there and just kind of holding a place and maybe having one person get in, you got to win games in the college football playoff. You know what I mean? Like you've got to win games to get yourself to the college football playoff. So in BYU's case, like, this is why Kalani doesn't really waste the time doing the whole, hey, look at our resume thing. And everybody wants him to prop up the program more and say more. They want them to be, and all these coaches are putting their elbows out, and they should. But let me tell you what, I kind of got over it. I had this moment of peace for the Big 12 last night where I said, you know what, who cares? You just have to win the games. And if it's not this year and you can't figure it out, the way you break in to this boys club is you force your way in the door. The only way to force your way in the door is to get the wins that they can't deny you after that of being a part of that. And that's two things. One, winning the Big 12 championship game if you're BYU. Simple as that. This is all the conversation is that they're having with the this is the conversation they're having with their team. They have no effect. Not a thing can be said by this program, by other programs who are fringe. It's already been decided. The lists are already figured out. And so the only way you can break into this deal is by beating Texas Tech this weekend. And frankly, and if it's not BYU getting in this week, if it's Texas Tech getting in, then Texas Tech has to win 2 games and tell people, you know what, the Big 12 doesn't just get pushed around. You beat a Big 10 team and maybe an SEC team on the way to your national championship game, and guess what you've got yourself? A level of respect for that individual program, but also the conference, who can then put their elbows out a little bit more. This is unfortunately less about whether or not this is going to make a difference this year, the arguments. It's going to make a difference in years to come. And by then, maybe it's a 24-team playoff, and we're having a discussion about just making sure you're the top 3 in your conference to be able to get there, or 4, hopefully. But the reality is that I think the only way you're getting in this year, and if you're a competitor, arguing about you've had great losses seems like a weird thing to do anyway. And so it defies what you do as a competitor. So I'm all for them just saying, you know what, if we don't win this week, we don't get in, and fine. If that's what they want us to do, winning those games is important, and losing and then getting into the college football playoff seems like a weird way to do it. So if you're BYU, just take the attitude of you only can win to be able to get into this thing. And going 11-1 with a true freshman quarterback, and it's an awesome story, it's not enough for them to be able to let you in 2024. And what's crazy is, JJ, it actually would have been enough. Last year I think it would have been enough. It's just different this year. The competitive – the way that the college football playoff is set up this year, because think about it, it was all just 10-2 teams getting into the Big 12 championship last year.
Yeah.
If they were an 11-1 team last year, they would have actually been ranked about 6th or 7th right now. If they lose in the conference championship game, I think they go to that 9 or 10 spot. This is in last year's group, because last year's group I think was a little bit weaker between 7 and 13. And so that's where they're at this year. It's a tough putt, but if you win the game, then no one can argue with you.
Yeah. And you're in. You're automatically in. But I'm still frustrated with the system. I was excited for the college football playoff, the 12-team playoff, and to see the way it's handled by the committee, not following their own rules, making stuff up on the fly, just trying to fit this narrative and try to get the teams in that they really, or the TV partner really wants in, it just makes you angry. And if you're a BYU fan, I totally get why you're upset about this, because you're used to this. This has been happening for decades, right? This goes all the way back to 1984 and in the outrage and the frustration of BYU winning a national title in 1984. And the powers that be have set out ever since to make sure that they stay out of that, and that can never happen again. And the public has demanded a more open, a more available, a more accessible tournament, if you want to call it that, or a playoff, to name a national champion in college football. This is what the fans have wanted. The overwhelming majority of fans have wanted for a long, long time. And it feels like we finally got it, but then the system's still set up to make sure The teams that have all the power and the money and the prestige hold on to the power and money and prestige.
Right.
And I get that, and it's frustrating because I think if you stack up resumes, now I'd be the first to tell you if BYU's resume was weak at this point, I would tell you that. I would say, look, BYU fans, you got to be real about this. I did it about Utah. I says, Utah, the last couple of weeks, has not looked like a college football playoff team. And they're not. And they're at 15. I think that's a great place for Utah to be. And they've had a great season. And finishing in the top 15 this year for Utah would be a major step after going 5-7 last year. But this BYU team truly deserves to be higher. Their resume's better than Ole Miss, another 11-1 team. You can stack them up with Oregon right now.
Well, when
they have 2 top 25 wins, and they have 6 wins over teams with a winning record.
That's what I was going to tell you about the Notre Dame bickering back and forth with the BYU fans last night in the comment section of whatever I was reading. Is there like it got to a super funny thing where it's like, and fan bases are. Fans are without any logic when it comes to this kind of. So what they're doing is they're pretending like, here's the logic right here. And the college football playoff doesn't give you any logic or reason, and so why would fans we have nothing to go off of as we watch this thing, because we're just watching these teams kind of just get judged on things that are actually not part of whatever the thing is that they're. It becomes a beauty pageant, it becomes a brand marketing deal, and it becomes a reality TV show, as we've said many, many times. So what was funny is the back and forth, because they were talking about the merit of the one top 25 win that Notre Dame has over USC versus that weak win over Arizona that BYU had in double overtime against an Arizona team that frankly barely got ranked 18th after beating Arizona State. It was like this funny thing, and it was like,
but on top of that, there's the
win
over
over what
Utah,
about the win over Utah?
Which is ranked ahead of USC.
The win over Utah, and they go, well, Utah's overrated, of course. And I'm like, it just is funny to have these conversations with people online, because everybody says definitively, here's the thing that's going on, here's the thing that's the truth and reality. And until these teams sit down and play, what's unfortunate is that the bickering back and forth, there's no time for these teams to play one another to figure it out. There's no play-in, there's no figuring it out.
Right.
And in the future, that's essentially what a 2014 playoff is going to get you. It's going to get you a play-in to get you to the spot to have the teams that actually matter and to see which ones are the frauds, which is what we do in the NCAA tournament, right? Every year in basketball.
And it works. I think we get
really
a true
does.
national champion every
really
year in
does.
college basketball.
And
all the drama and fun that comes with it.
Listen, I don't want to go full the G6 stinks, but if this is a year that a JMU and a Tulane or a JMU and a North Texas get in, and you're leaving out an 11-1 BYU team, or 11-2 maybe at that point, a Miami team that definitely would be better, I think, than a JMU, a Utah team that would run it up on Tulane or JMU, I think. You know what I mean? Like,
if Duke wins the ACC championship game,
that's the chaos we're talking about.
Could miss the college football playoff.
Yeah.
James Madison and the winner of Tulane and North Texas would go.
Then what's interesting is then they go, oh, there is a flaw in the system. And the nightmare scenario that we had built out thinking that'll never happen has happened in – what year is this of the 12-team playoff, by the way?
Year 2.
Year 2. Okay, so the nightmare scenario, they're like, good thing we'll never have to deal with that, could be happening in year 2, when we're going to be just absolutely looking at one another going, what are we doing? What are we doing here with JMU and North Texas playing in the college football playoff, while teams who definitely would have been not just bigger brands, because that's a big deal. So those teams, by virtue of just winning, are going to leapfrog, and not just that, other teams losing, right? your other teams, your SMUs who get upset on the way to the ACC championship game, here's what's crazy is Virginia isn't being talked about at all, because everyone looks at that and goes, yeah, it's a 10-win. That's a 10-win ACC team, but they've played nobody. They feel like you feel like they played nobody, and so it's all the same arguments that we've had across the board on this. And so I haven't been super impressed on how the committee
Virginia team that's lost to NC State and Wake Forest could be in the college football
playoff.
So
Wake Forest is kind of a funny. Wake Forest is like the Kansas of the ACC this year. Yeah. Because I think they beat somebody else this year, 13-12 maybe, that you're like, why did they lose to that team? You're like, I don't know, man. They just showed up that game. The Demon Deacons showed up in a couple of games that actually ruined a couple other teams' lives. And that's just the way that the system is set up. You want to incentivize teams.
Yeah, they beat SMU and
It was
Virginia.
SMU 13-12, right?
Correct, yes.
So they ruined it for all these other folks. And so Look, the reality is this. The good news over the past 24 hours for BYU fans is the health of your football program will outlast the current version of what this crappy college football playoff looks like. So that's what you need to take away from it is the thing that you have set up and made it to where, and I was on with 2 different radio stations in Lubbock today talking about this thing because, and you know what's interesting is that they're pissed for BYU. They're mad because when you discount BYU and, oh, look at this 11-1 BYU team, then what ends up happening? Texas Tech gets it, and they go, yeah, that was nice. You beat that BYU team, but they were like a weak 11-1 team. It looks bad for them. And there's a reason why Joey McGuire stands up for Kalani Sitake, not just from the personal standpoint that they like each other, but also because nowadays these coaches have to do a weird thing that they weren't asked to do even 5 or 10 years ago, which is stump for other teams in their conference, which is a weird position. You and I, this is something we never saw growing up.
No.
Coaches going, really love what they say that respect stuff during the week that they play them, and then they never talk about them again. Now you have coaches going, I really love what they're doing. I think they deserve a seat at the table, and it's all because you're trying to stump for the conference because you know that
conference strength factors
it matters.
To the playoff selection.
It matters. It's such a darn weird thing for us to be looking at this and trying to understand it from day one about how we're figuring out this thing that everyone says here's where the parameters are. They put the parameters online and what their quote unquote principles are, and then everybody goes, cool. So what's that look like then? Now with the principles, they go, oh yeah, we don't look at that. That's just fluff we put on the website so people can understand a little bit better about why we're actually not going to keep you out. It's just more fodder for you to be able to go, I thought you had these principles. They go, yeah, not this year. Not this year because it's chaotic. So we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We've got more to go right here. We're at the ballpark all day today. The ballpark at America First Square. Look online for yourself all the things that you can do this holiday season and come enjoy the holiday lights because it's a brand new tradition you can fire up with the family right here in downtown Daybreak. More to go. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Let's go! Complete game coverage of the Cougars is right here on the KSL Sports Zone. It's a Big 12 title game showdown for Kalani Sitake and the Cougars as they square off against Texas Tech for a spot in the college football playoff. Exclusive Big 12 title game coverage on the Zone is presented by JCW's, the Burger Boys. Quality and a lot of it. You're locked on to JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome on out, everybody. Thanks for being with us on the program. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Outside, mid-30s temperature. The wind kind of whipping up here as we're at the ballpark at America First Square where the holiday lights are going to be in full swing. The lights are already on, and we're going to see this sun go down in the next hour or so.
Can't wait.
It's going to be awesome. So, well, look how I'm telling you. Well, right now we're already in the shade. It's not like it's going to suddenly.
Yeah, but.
What? You got your – listen to how good our gig is now. I got a heater for me. You got your own heater.
I do.
We're wearing KSL Sports winter gear.
I'm being a little whiny right now. I'll stop.
Listen, you are. You know what?
I came to work with a bad attitude today. The College Football Playoff Committee pissed me off. I'm taking it out on everybody else.
Hey, by the way, you can get the best blankets ever and the best gifts ever, saving 50% this season with the promo code ZONE50 at Minky Couture. MinkyCouture.com is where you can use that promo code, or just go in and mention it at any of the 6 locations, brick and mortar across the valley. Best blankets and best gifts ever, 50% off with the promo code ZONE50. Joining us on the program right now, Jarret Johnson. He covers Texas Tech football for Inside Red Raiders. Brought to you by JCW's, all of our conversations that are Big 12 championship game related. JCW's, the Burger Boys, quality and a lot of it. Jarret Johnson's on the program with us. Jarret, thanks for being with us. And we say quality and a lot of it with JCW's. There's a lot of love. There's a lot of love right now between Joey McGuire and Kalani Sitake. At some point, we have to stop with all this love fest. Aren't these guys supposed to not like each other at least for a few hours?
Yeah, first off, thanks for having me on, fellas. And, yeah, the love between those two is sickening, isn't it? With everything on the line Saturday. No, I mean, I think there's mutual respect. Honestly, I think there's a lot of mutual respect, at least from Texas Tech's end, from what I see, between the programs.
Yeah.
You know, for just how heated the games are, just how impactful these games are for both these programs. Whether it be obviously the BYU fans supporting Tech's football Barber when they played in the regular season, that was unbelievable. But just the respectful way I saw at the Jones, the stadium here in Lubbock, as we call it, and just even online, I run a message board, and obviously I'm on social media a lot, and it just seems like there's a lot of respect between the two fan bases, and you know what? It's kind of been refreshing. I've been doing this a long time, and I haven't seen it, but I'm also kind of with y'all. I was, listening to that press conference, and I was like, okay, enough. Y'all like each other. Y'all are boys. Okay, time to duke it out. Then y'all can hang out after you fight, like we all do.
It's like they've already booked a cruise together or something to get the wives together and everything. It's like, come on, guys. Like, you guys are. This is football, man.
Coach, I'll see you at the Nike meetings. Lunch is on me this time. No, it's on me. You're like, come on,
let's
get
go
out of
golfing before, hey, bud. It's just, we're not used to it either. But you know what? It is refreshing, and it is a great vibe, and I think it shows the character of both head coaches, in my opinion. We've been really impressed with Joey McGuire and what he's done there. If there's critics of Joey McGuire, I guess they would say and look at, okay, you're doing this because you got all this money and you got all this NIL to get these players. Can you tell us why Joey McGuire is so successful as a head coach, especially making the big jump from coming from high school to college? Why has he been successful, and how much of it is him as a head coach and not just the NIL money that they've been able to bring in?
That's a lot of questions. Those are great questions. I was just no. There was a lot. It's a lot to unpack. I covered him back in high school as well, and one thing I would say, he's one of the most genuine dudes. Like, he's the same guy you see in the press conferences that y'all see on social media, on all these shows. He's the same guy he was back when he was a head coach in high school at Cedar Hill out here in Texas. That doesn't hurt anything in terms of relationships, recruiting, all those things. All those things have come back to him. He's also very intentional. He kind of comes off as aw shucks and defers praise to everybody, but this guy's had a plan for a long time. He's very intentional in everything he does. And then also, I mean, at this point, I think I could say, since, Tech's in the Big 12 championship for the first time ever, yes, the money is important. Talent does matter in sports, but there's a lot of schools out there that spend a lot of money. I mean, LSU, according to 24/7 Sports, had a slightly higher ranked transfer portal class, and they're not having the same success. I mean, They had to go out and get a new head coach, obviously. So I think McGuire gets a lot of credit for folding not just all these players from all over the country with the returners, but also 2 new coordinators as well under one culture, and making everybody believe in it, play for one another, and obviously have more success than Texas Tech, or at least as much success as Texas Tech has ever had. I think it's also important to point out part of his plan. His general manager, James Blanchard, is kind of set the new mold for the future of program building. They signed a top 20 class, slightly edging out BYU, of course. These two programs are just going head to head, but top 20 class today. And, obviously had one of the top transfer portal classes last cycle. So that's obviously working. I think Joey McGuire deserves a lot of credit for his CEO-style approach and being able to fold all these things under one culture and ultimately make it work.
What about the actual game itself from an X's and O's standpoint? I keep having conversations with people of, what should BYU do that's different this next time? And, that they take on Texas Tech, because it just felt like they were just out of sorts on all 3 phases. But what is it that Texas Tech does so well that maybe matches up really well, not just against BYU, but kind of against everybody? And what would BYU need to do differently to be able to make this game more competitive down in Arlington on Saturday?
Yeah, that's another great question. What's funny is a lot was just thinking about this. I thought this going into the game, and I even said early in the year when it was obvious, that Tech's defense was going to be this good and the offensive line had been improved, that the only team I saw in the Big 12 legitimately matching up, now got to give Arizona State a credit, but the only other team I really saw matching up in the trenches was BYU, which is one of the reasons that made that game so fascinating a month ago. I just feel like BYU's strengths and Texas Tech's strengths kind of align. They're both smash mouth, very physical teams. And I think, at least in the first game, Tech was more physical. They actually won that battle in the trenches. I mean, I don't think anybody can deny that. I also think that Tech is maybe a little more versatile in terms of some of the weapons it has, skill position players. But, I mean, again, that was the first game. It was in Lubbock. Tech definitely won the special teams battle that day. There were some mistakes by BYU, obviously that muff punt. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see, does BYU, like the offensive coordinator Roderick said after the game, they were max protect with 7 and had a hard time blocking 4. So do they kind of change strategy and spread out instead of, going max protect and do what BYU normally does? And if they do, does that work? So that chess match to me going into this game is very interesting, because it seems like to me, and y'all probably know BYU better than me, but from what I've seen, BYU just does what it does, and it's been very successful in doing what it does. But it didn't work out in that first matchup. So do they stick to who they are? Do they try and pull off some chicanery, some trick plays, or different wrinkles, or something in between? I think that's very fascinating in terms of this matchup, with it being a rematch.
You look at the Arizona State game, and I think everyone would Texas Tech's so good, and trying to find a way to beat this team, and you think, well, Arizona State provided somewhat of a blueprint, but obviously there were some reasons and some circumstances in that game that led to that. Obviously, Baron Morton didn't play in that game. Is there a blueprint? What did Arizona State do in that game that could tell BYU or show BYU what some of the weaknesses are at this Texas Tech team? How do you beat Tech?
Yeah, I think you have to have some really talented skill players, especially receivers. You have to have a quarterback who can get the ball out of his hands really quickly. I think the short, quick passing game, if you could sustain it and protect your quarterback well enough, might be successful. Now, can you do that over the course of a whole game and be able to outscore Texas Tech? I don't know. Another thing besides Barron not playing is Tech, for whatever reason, didn't get their 2 star running backs the ball very much. I think they had 12 carries between them in that game, maybe 15 or 16 touches. That needs to be 25 between those 2. And, I think that was a key in the BYU game as well. I don't know if it was the young quarterback, Will Hammond, kind of checking out of some runs or just making other decisions, but that was an anomaly, and I think that cost Texas Tech that game as much as anything. I also thought of blitzing off the edges and really disrupting, kind of playing Tech's game and getting in the backfield and disrupting some plays. It'll be interesting to see if that is if that will work against a fifth-year senior quarterback in Baron Morton, who's kind of seen every kind of defense and every kind of wrinkle that a defense can throw at him. But that worked on that day. And Arizona State, even with Will Hammond being in there, who's a very talented quarterback in his own right, instead of Baron Morton, definitely deserved credit for that win.
Well, it's going to be fascinating on Saturday to see how this thing gets handled. And, of course, from the national perspective, everybody's got eyes on this game to see who the likely singular representative of the Big 12 would be representing the conference in the college football playoff. I do think there's an outside shot that if BYU did upset in a close game a Texas Tech team, that Tech would stay in, but I don't know, just because the committee is such a schizophrenic, weird situation right now. So it's so hard to understand, and I think unfortunately for BYU, the writing's on the wall with their rankings over the past few weeks, what they're going to get if they take a loss in that game. So Jarret Johnson, he covers Texas Tech for Inside the Red Raiders, all brought to you by JCW's. And Jarret, thanks, man. We appreciate it. Thanks again for hanging with us and putting up with our long questions, man.
No, it was a lot. It was a great question, but thanks for having me on anytime, and I'm really looking forward to the game.
All right, have a good Saturday, have a good championship game. We'll take the break here. We'll come back. We got more around the corner. When we return, let's get to a Would You Rather portion of the program. We haven't been able to do it yet this week. We're going to do it right now when we come back. Stay with us, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Listen, everybody. Real-life hypotheticals to get your brain churning. As JJ and Alex ask, would you rather?
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen, and we are here at the ballpark at America First Square here at downtown Daybreak. The Trax train just passing by, stopping at the station that is right next to where we're basically holding this whole place hostage tonight. The holiday lights are, of course, being featured all season long at the ballpark at America First Square and all the surrounding businesses right here that are attached to, including the Megaplex. They've got bowling, they've got games, they've got dining. All of it's connected together. You can just go from one venue to the next, and you can enjoy awesome time with your family at the holiday lights. And we're just going to be out here today, and the KSL family is going to have we're going to have our company party here tonight. And I know my son's company is also having their company party out here in a couple of days, and so the best way to be able to enjoy a new tradition is just giving it a shot, and this is a great way to do it. The holiday lights, the entire ballpark, JJ, I don't know how you describe this, 60-foot tree right in front of us, and then multiple lights just everywhere across the entire venue. And so if you want to eat here, if you want to watch movies here, if you want to be able to bowl,
you can ice skate.
You could do the ice skating thing if you don't want to fall on your tush like I tend to do. And I used to actually be pretty decent. I mean, I can actually skate. That's the thing, is I can get around. The thing is, big tree fall hard.
I hear you.
2025, the joints are
action sports aren't easy when
I wouldn't call it action sports when I'm out there on the ice. But it is I guess the kids dodging me as I fall is probably an action sport for them.
For sure.
Yeah. JJ.
Yes.
Would you rather have a family get together, like the traditions that go along with the holiday season, or like a 4th of July situation? We were out here pretty close to around that time frame this during the summer here. Like, what speaks to you in terms of like the nostalgia and like the good times? Because I can picture some slow motion baseball, sandlot type situation at the ballpark during the summer. But you kind of can't beat the Christmas nostalgia stuff, too.
I love summertime. I love baseball. I love brats.
I love lamp.
I love everything about summer. The 4th of July actually is so much fun. That time of year is so much fun for me because of the outdoor activities.
We partied out here during
fun in the
time
sun.
Of year too. Yeah.
Look, Christmas is great. Don't get me wrong. I love the Christmas spirit and all that, but
no, you don't. Listen to this Grinch over here. Look, I love the Christmas spirit and all that, whatever it is you people like.
I know you would try to make me look terrible by saying that July is more fun than December, but it's just the truth.
Look, normally the Would You Rather segment.
Can you swim on Christmas Day?
Any pool.
Only if you're filthy rich.
Any body of water is a pool if you're brave enough, okay?
Yeah, pneumonia's no fun. Don't try that.
Well,
or hypothermia.
We're having a good time out here, and you can come out, bring the family, bundle them up, and come see the holiday lights out here. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We've got more to go in our second hour of the program. When we return, don't miss any of it because we're going to be chatting some hockey next hour. A little bit awkward time to chat hockey, by the way, with this team. And so we're looking forward to the idea of what the future looks like for this team and calling up some brand new names across the board with this hockey team. We're looking forward to being able to figure out what they can do to turn things around with this Utah Mammoth squad. So more to go around the corner. Stay right here with us. It is 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
The exclusive home of the Utah Mammoth is on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Here's Carcone one-on-one up the ice with Shakir Mukamadul, and Carcone spinning in front. Kraus scores! Michael Carcone to Lawson Kraus, and Utah is on the board here at the Shark Tank. Macklin Celebrini, Will Smith dances in. What a move. Smith shoots and scores. It's a highlight reel goal from Will Smith. And the kids have come to play for San Jose. A 2-on-2. Smith drags, shoots, and scores. 6-2. And we're going to need a bigger boat.
You're locked into JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome on in, everybody. It is a happy Wednesday to you here on JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. You can always download the podcast wherever podcasts are found. You can also just go straight to the KSL Sports website where you can stream the program live, or go onto YouTube on the KSL Sports YouTube page. Although we're not in the studio today, you can still listen to the stream, of course, live as it goes, and as we have the commentary, of course, that matches up with your day of sports and all the things that are going on across the entire valley here in the state of Utah and across the world of sports. We cover it all. We chat about. I always love that when people are like, "So what are you doing?" You tell them, and then they go, "So do you probably just talk about like the NFL and stuff?" And I'm always like, "It's interesting. You would think that would be," or they go, "So you just talk about the Jazz?" And it's like, "No, there's a lot going on here, man." And by the way, like, it's hard to talk about the Jazz sometimes. Hard to talk about the hockey team at this current rate that the Mammoth
tough conversations have to be had.
So on top of all that, though. We love it, man. Like, we get to cover all of it, and we get to chat about all of it. We're out here at America First Square, the ballpark at America First Square, downtown Daybreak, all of the different events that are going on around us, including, of course, the crown jewel of it all, which is the Holiday Lights, which is the event we're at tonight. And you're going to be able to, all season long, except for on Christmas Day, check out the Holiday Lights. 5 to 10 every night they're open up. Make a new holiday tradition for you and your family right now. Let's get this thing going. Let's start off the program as we always do this hour with the cut. Let's jump in right here. Get to Mike Folta, the radio play-by-play voice of the Utah Mammoth, joining the program here. So let's get in right now.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Doug Smith brings you this portion of the program. Doug Smith, of course, the dealerships found in American Fork, Spanish Fork, and in Linden, all across the different brands that they represent, including the brand-new Mitsubishi dealership in American Fork. Nobody knows cars like Doug, and we appreciate their support of the program right here. It is hard right now, JJ, to try to figure out what's going on with this Mammoth team. As soon as they started to have some question marks, they came right back and snapped to with a couple of wins right in a row, and you thought, okay, let's see what they can do from here.
They were back.
Now 4 losses in a row that feel even more disappointing, I think, than even the previous run of a couple of losses in a row, because you have now this thought of, okay, what are you going to do with this team? You have some guys going down to Tucson to play for the Roadrunners. You've got Daniil Boot, who we talked about getting called up, and now, of course, today the Mammoth announcing that Maverick Lamoureux is going to be recalled from the Roadrunners as well down in Tucson. Joining us on the program right now, he's the radio play-by-play voice of the Utah Mammoth, Mike Folta. Mike, what's going on, man? How are things with you?
Hey, what's up, guys? We're here in beautiful SoCal. Got my Disney ears on. We're right next to Disneyland, and we're gonna quit the roller coasters and the overpriced food for some hockey here in a little bit. Got a late one tonight, but should be fun.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it, because every game I think there's that little glimmer of hope of, okay, this team's got to turn some things around. They are getting to the point now. What do you think the biggest kind of head-scratching moments for you have been? Is obviously you call every second of these games and you watch this thing go on. That you know, we just heard on the way in too the highlights or lowlights or whatever you want to say from that Sharks game the other night when they put that 6th goal in. There were a lot of people who threw the towel in on that game that night. They went, okay, I can't watch this anymore. And it's been a difficult go here. What do you think the biggest head-scratching thing for you is with this team right now?
Yeah, it's tough to just pinpoint one thing. And when you give up 6 goals, there's usually multiple things wrong, right? I mean, we saw some, in that game specifically, some uncharacteristic turnovers. You had maybe at least one goal that you'd like your goalie to stop, and then you trade goalies, and doesn't have much of an effect in the goal-stopping department. But I think there's a few things at play. One, the power play needs to get going. The Mammoths have the worst power play in the league, and you look at this team last year, and the power play was 10th best, and right now we're nowhere near that. And so the power play, you hope to go like around 20 to 25% on the power play. If you're at 25%, that's really good. But that's scoring once every 4 or 5 power play opportunities, right? And so that is almost a goal a game when it comes down to it, and that's what Utah is missing right now is that extra goal to just give yourself a chance in the fight. And along with that, there's been some inconsistency in the defensive zone with the turnovers, like I mentioned against San Jose. For the most part, this group has been pretty good defensively. It was just that game against San Jose that was an exception to the rule, and it's hard to outscore 6 goals worth of mistakes. So a couple things working against the Mammoth right now. You've seen some of the top guys go a little bit quiet. Clayton Keller, obviously, playing with a heavy heart. Him and Nick Schmaltz have both seen their points dip a little bit here. And so those guys need to get going. But the depth scoring, really the whole offense needs to lurch into gear a little bit. And you add all that together, and it brings you to the worst calendar month that we've seen from this group, which is what we had back in November.
Yeah, it's been tough and discouraging because we know what this team is capable of. What do you think the key is to unlocking that power play?
Yeah, well, we're going to find out because we've seen some new personnel on the power play at morning skates. We've got J.J. Peterka on the top unit with Clayton Keller, and they're moving Dylan Guenther out of his one-timer spot. He usually sets up where you see Alexander Ovechkin on the left face-off circle waiting for a one-timer. But teams have started to adjust to Guenther, and they've kind of started cheating towards him a little bit. I was talking with Dylan the other day in the room, and he was saying, a lot of teams have actually switched up their coverage where they used to run one thing, and now they're running another thing against us. And I think that's kind of made this group think a little bit more on the power play. And you watch a really good NHL power play, and they're snapping it around, boom, boom, boom. There's not a lot of thinking going on. It's just instinct, and you know where everybody is. The Mammoths don't have that right now, and I think some more movement will help with guys trading places, shifting into different zones, and hopefully creating some alleys against a penalty kill here for Anaheim that is not too threatening. They're bottom 6 in the league in PK.
Mike, yeah, we love having the exciting, fun conversations with you where we're like happy-go-lucky with these things, and it just has been kind of a weird vibe inside the organization. Where has everybody been? Like, I would imagine that being on edge is probably the least of what they're worrying about here. They're trying to make some moves here and trying to figure some things out. These younger guys that they're bringing in, Daniil Boot and Maverick Lamoureux, these are names that at some point we expected to see with names on the back of Mammoth jerseys. Is it just to get what's the purpose of bringing these younger guys in? Is it to fire up some of these other guys inside the locker room? Is it just to shift some things around? Is it a version of both? And what do you see these guys doing impact-wise with this team as they get called up?
Yeah, well, there's 3 sides of every story, right? There's your side, my side, then there's the truth. I think the truth probably has a smattering of both of what you just said, where, hey, the group that's going right now isn't necessarily getting it done. It's time for an injection of life. But I think you can't ignore the other side of it either, which is the guys who have been called up have earned this. It wasn't just given to them, and that's what Bear was trying to get across to me earlier this morning. He was saying, look, Daniil Boot leads the team in the AHL. He led the team in scoring through the first 19 games. He's one of the top rookies in the American Hockey League. And again, he's coming over from Russia where he was already playing professional hockey against men. So this is not some guy who's like just figuring out how to play against athletes in their prime and who need some more time to learn that. He was already doing that as a teenager in one of the best leagues in the world. And then he came over to North America where you worry, okay, in the AHL, the rink is smaller. You have less time to make decisions. Is he going to be able to keep up with the speed of the game and process the game at a high level? And that answer was a resounding yes from what we've seen so far in Tucson. So Boot has earned the call-up, and that's the chief reason why he is with the club right now. But at the same time, like, and now we're getting into hypotheticals, like if this team had won 7 in a row, would they have called him up? I'm not sure. Can't answer that. But it hasn't been good recently. Ever since that 7-game win streak, and Boot could be the spark that this group needs, especially up front, because he's going to shoot the puck and he's got a ton of skill.
Yeah, they can definitely use a spark. The last month's been pretty rough, but if you look at the standings right now, Mike, it doesn't look as bad as it feels right now because you're 1 game out of the wild card. You have the same points as Edmonton. You have a point more than the Jets. So there's a lot. I mean, what's the feeling inside the organization right now about this rough patch and where they're at right now? Is there optimism that they can get this turned around? And if so, I mean, there's really no reason to push the panic button, right?
No, I wouldn't use the word. I wouldn't use the word panic, but I'd be lying if I said that it's been super comfortable, walking into the room the last couple of days on this road trip where Utah is yet to get a win through the first 3 games of the trip. This group has expectations to make the playoffs and not just be in the mix, but to be a better team. And I think what we have to be careful of, and what the team has to be careful of, is after that great start in October, not to recalibrate expectations to fit that win streak. Because the truth is, this team is not that 7-game win streak, and this team is also not what we saw in November. It's probably somewhere in the middle, and the Mammoth have to figure that out. And the sooner they can figure that out, the more points they'll have, and the better off that they'll be. I think the vibe today, just walking into the locker room today in Anaheim, there was an excitement there, and I think a big part of that was because of the 2 new guys, Boot and Lamoureux, who by the way, could probably – like I would like to see them take on is it AJ DeBonza from BYU? Like, let them guard the ball up top, because Lamoureux and Boot are both like a legit 6'6".
Oh yeah.
But put some length on that guy and maybe make him go to his left instead of his right and get a nice contest up there, because those guys can hang in the front court.
6'6", 6'9" with the skates, so it's like Fletch, 6'9", 6'10" with the afro. Yeah, it's. I would love to see what these guys could do. We talked so much in the offseason and kind of in the preseason when these guys' names came up, when you're like, man, there's some young, exciting dudes who are there, and then you look and you go, okay, well, what's the reason for the call up, and it has a bunch of different reasons, like you were saying, Mike, on top of the fact that these guys, you don't fake your way in. They don't just put guys on a roster and send other guys down and go, yeah, we're just trying some stuff out here. They believe that these guys are a little bit ahead of schedule, or they could make that spark, and just what you've described too, when a couple of new guys are in the locker room and there's some energy there, maybe that's the type of an energy shift that a locker room does need.
Yeah, and I think what is going to decide it is not anything that's intangible. I think it'll be tangible results that kind of dictate that. But we heard from Bill Armstrong back in the offseason when these guys were coming into camp. They were signed in May, and I'm saying these guys, I mean Daniil Boot and Dmitry Simashev, who we didn't know much about, right, other than their draft profile and what Bill was telling us. And Bill told us about both of those guys. He thinks they have a really good shot to make the team out of camp. Now, Simashev did, Boot didn't, but this is not like a call-up that has necessarily come out of nowhere. This was a guy who entered camp, and there was a possibility that he made the roster on a Mammoth team that already added a bunch of other pieces and had a very competitive training camp. So it's not something that necessarily came out of the blue. It was going to happen at some point, right? The guy was picked 12th overall. He's going to see the NHL, and because of his skill, but because you want you want to see what your draft picks can do. But he had a really good stint in the KHL as a very young player. Has played extremely well in Tucson and now has a chance to play with two of Utah's best players in Logan Cooley and Dylan Guenther. So everything is setting up for him to have an exciting debut tonight at the Duck Pond.
The Ducks, another challenge tonight. This is a Ducks team that has emerged as one of the biggest surprises of the league so far, although if people were watching and knowing the prospects they had, they're probably not too surprised. But I remember that game that you called part of this rough patch was losing that game at the end in overtime, and had a lead with 20 seconds and couldn't hold it. There's some bad memories and some bad juju there. How important is it for this team, and how much are they thinking about that last trip to Anaheim, and how bad do they want to get revenge tonight?
Yeah, I think that plays in a part of it. It's funny, like this Anaheim team has actually done that to a few teams throughout this year. They've won a game in the last 5 minutes of regulation 3 times. They've tied the game late several times, and you mentioned it. Like anybody who's following their prospects knew, okay, the Ducks are coming, but now the Ducks are here. And they're leading the Pacific Division, and anybody who tells you otherwise is lying. Nobody thought that the Anaheim Ducks would be ahead of Edmonton, Vegas, and L.A. Here as we open up December. I credit a lot of this turnaround to Joel Quenneville, former Blackhawks head coach, won those 3 Stanley Cups in Chicago. One thing you'll notice about this Ducks team is they do not give up leads late very often. They've only had 2 games this year where they've blown a lead and lost the game. So when they get ahead, they typically stay ahead. And for me, that's a sign of a pretty mature team and a sign that a young organization is turning the corner.
You look at some of the biggest young stars in the game, and people think of Connor Bedard. We just saw Macklin Celebrini again, and he's certainly one of those guys. But where does Leo Carlsson rank in that group? He's having a phenomenal season at just 20 years of age.
Yeah, he's up there. I wouldn't put him quite at the Celebrini level per se, but you go through the Ducks game notes, and he's in a lot of sentences that also contain names like Crosby or Teemu Selanne or Paul Kariya or legends of the game or other legends of the Anaheim organization. So he's on a great path already. He was impressive last year for the Ducks as well. Just 21 years of age, second overall back in 2023. He was that pick right behind Connor Bedard, and he's been wildly impressive. And it's not just him either. There's others. Cutter Gauthier has 15 goals as well. He's another 21-year-old that plays with Carlson, and those guys have a great chemistry and are going to be fun to watch for Ducks fans in the future. But it's guys like those, and it's also guys they brought in free agency and via trade the last offseason and the last year. Chris Kreider, a name fans might know from his days in New York. He was a longtime New York Ranger. He's been impactful. Jacob Trouba, another former Ranger, is having a good year as a defenseman on the back end. But lots to be happy about in Duckland because it's promising. The future's bright, and the present is profitable as well.
Mike Folta is the radio play-by-play voice of the Utah Mammoth, joining us on the program here. And Mike, have fun down there, and we're going to keep our eyes peeled on this one to see how it goes. Got the national TV stint tonight, going to be on TNT on a big network, and Utah going to Anaheim, and it's an 8 o'clock puck drop. You can hear it, of course, the 7 o'clock pregame. And then, of course, Mike's dulcet tones coming up at the 8 o'clock hour when that puck drops. Mike, have fun down there. We're looking forward to what this new team tonight looks like with a couple new guys on it.
Can't wait. If we win, I'll send some crumble cookies your way, guys. Appreciate it.
There you go. Mike Folta. This is like one of my favorite guys that we ever have on. I love having Mike on, dude. And you know what? When you get the 6th goal scored on you, in that San Jose game, and he still is able to throw out the Jaws, we're going to need a bigger boat joke as the team is semi-lifeless.
That's a pro's pro.
I was like, that's
That's your guy.
Mike Folta and I have the same dark humor. So there you go. Appreciate Mike coming on, and we're looking forward to what the Mammoth can do tonight down in Anaheim. And of course, every time we get to chat with Mike, and anytime we talk about this Utah Mammoth team, it's all brought to you by the good folks. Hold on, let me get my sheet out here. Hercules First Federal Credit Union, growing stronger together. We appreciate Mike coming on the program here with us. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We've got more around the corner. When we return, we've got tons to be able to chat about the rest of the day as well. As we get you going, we get you excited about the rest of the sports world out there. We're going to get you going here. We've got changes that have been proposed to the college football playoff calendar. I played these for Mitch Harper yesterday in our Big 12 show, and I love what Joey McGuire is talking about. It's too reasonable.
Why don't we talk to the experts that play every week?
What
works for the coaches and the players? Let's find out what that is.
It is too reasonable of an approach, and that's why it will not be considered. But one of the head coaches of the Big 12, Joey McGuire, has a phenomenal change to the schedule so that all of our lives would improve tremendously, and I think improve the quality of college football as well. Stay here. More to go. 97.5 KSL Sports Zone.
Nobody gets you ready for Utah football more than the KSL Sports Zone.
Ready?
The season isn't over yet for Kyle Whittingham and the Utes as they wait for their bowl game matchup to end the year. Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You're locked on to JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Whoa, excuse me. Got to do this with a microphone, my guy.
You could just talk louder.
New here. I'm new here. Never done this. Really excited to get on the radio. Sounds like a fun job.
First time, long time.
First time, long time. Hey, want to get your thoughts here.
Hey.
Caller number 12 right now is going to get a pair of tickets to see at Aerofest 2026, Styx, Chicago, among many others at Aerofest. You know how we do it here. We blow it out, and we do an awesome job and have a great time at Aerofest. At Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater coming in August of 2026. So the tickets actually go on sale on Friday, but you can win those tickets right now. Be the first to do it. 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-ZONE, 801-575-9663. Get yourself a pair of tickets to Aerofest right now as part of our Win Ticket Wednesday. So there you go. We're outside here at the ballpark at America First Square, and we're just enjoying it. Hey, now that the sun is going down a little bit more, the lights are getting a little bit more vibrant. Everything's starting to really pop now out here. It's beautiful. Come bring your family down this time of year between 5 and 10 every night. The holiday lights at the ballpark, you can enjoy them. Bring your family, get some food. You walk around the lights. You could do the ice skating rink, and then you go inside, get warm, get some food, watch a movie at the Megaplex, whatever you want to do. So there you go. I've got some audio here for you. It's a little bit longer. I think it's about – is this the couple-minute Napolis? Is this kind of the 2-minute deal here? Yeah, because I wanted the whole thing because I think Joey McGuire does a great job articulating and by the way, this is the type of thinking that you need. You have to have somebody say, this is what we should do because I'm boots on the ground here. And not only from like a make sense standpoint from a money, I think it's just a clean way of being able to do the college football playoff, the college football bowl season, the college football season in general. Here's what he had to say about how to organize this calendar for football, not just from the playing standpoint, but also from the transfer portal. Here's what Texas Tech head coach Joey McGuire said about it.
I don't want the portal in the spring. I want to know what my team is in January so I can create my team and what we did this last year and the chemistry and everything. And so you're just putting a Band-Aid over the problem until we address the calendar. So in my opinion, we all should have played August 23rd. So instead of week 0, we play, that's week 1. That would mean with the buys and everything, the conference championship would have been played over Thanksgiving. So you get that out of the way. So now we know who's in the playoffs. So if you were saying the first round was going to be played Saturday and then the quarterfinals 7 days after that, semifinals 7 days after that, you actually could play the national championship on January 1st. And then the portal would open on January 2nd. So the season would actually be over. So until you do that, we're still going to have this. If we're going to be like the NFL, to where everybody's saying that, in the NFL, there's a tampering for coaches also, and there's a penalty. And so, hey, if you're going to leave your team that's in the playoffs, maybe your team that you're going to is not eligible for the playoffs the next year. Maybe that changes some of the things. Or, hey, you're going to leave your team for the playoffs. Nobody from your past team or your team that you're coaching at can go to the team that you're going to. You know, that they're not eligible. They can get in the transfer portal, but they've got to go somewhere else. They can't follow you. Until there's some penalties in that, we're going to get the same thing over and over. I do think the biggest thing that we have to address, and TV's got to get behind this, because they've already got this mapped out with the quarterfinals and all this stuff. We've got to push the calendar up, and we've got to get football out of the second semester. We're not supposed to be playing college football on January 19th. That should be over at the very worst of where it has been in the past. I still think that's too late, and the calendar can change that.
Joey McGuire talking too reasonably. Now, what he's saying there is the kind of stuff that anything that happens, I think, with the world of college football, because, JJ, you have to ask yourself, we have to ask ourselves all the time, because I legitimately don't know, who runs this thing? Who's running this thing?
I know who runs it.
And we could say just to go, well, the
ESPN
TV
and Fox.
The TV outlets. But the thing is that
who cashes who writes the checks?
Right, and in that case,
that's who runs it.
And in that case, they don't really look at the calendar in that sense.
They have their own calendar.
But here's the thing here's what's crazy. January 1 and January 2 sometimes, because, we kind of do the thing where if the Rose Bowl won't play on a Sunday, right? And they play they play on January 1st. That's like their thing. January 1st, unless it's on a Sunday, then they'll play it the day after, right? Yep. But that was the end of the season for me as a kid, right? Like, the New Year's Day games were the most important games. And we have this weird moment where we all kind of take a break, kind of, but not really, between now, like the conference championship weekends on the 6th of December, it's around this time every year. And then the college football playoff committee gets together. And then for 3.5 weeks, we sit around and get excited about games that end up being kind of not good games. So, and then, by the way, if you're the NCAA, if you're the college football playoff committee, watch out, because when you start to find yourself bleeding into what Roger Goodell and his guys are doing, you will not be friends. They will not be friends of yours. January 19th, you know what that is? That's getting too close to my favorite time of the year, which is wild card and divisional playoffs in the NFL. And if you, by the way, did you see the number that was thrown out there? You're a TV ratings guy. Did you see what the number was for that Cowboys-Chiefs game?
I can only imagine. What was it?
The most watched NFL midweek game in the history of television.
Oh, my gosh.
The Cowboys and Chiefs Thanksgiving Day game pulled 58 million viewers.
Unbelievable.
Can you believe that?
That's insane.
Okay, college football is fun. A lot of people like watching it.
Yeah. 59
million people don't watch it.
Yeah, for all the college football guys out there, and you know what? College football is great. That's why we talk about it. That's why we watch it.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite.
It's your favorite.
Yes.
We've had this discussion before, and I'm more of an NFL guy. But there's no comparison. Even like Michigan, Ohio State, when they're ranked, doesn't come close to the highest ranked NFL game
9,
of the
10 million. It's like, oh wow, 12 million. You go great. The college football playoff finals will pull 19 to 25. It's like,
and then you hear that number for a Thanksgiving Day
between
game.
two teams who are probably not going to make the playoffs.
Right.
Like
those are not as of right now not the elite NFL teams.
Right.
Those are teams fighting for a playoff spot.
So in the end, what I'm saying is that it sounds too reasonable, right? No one's running the show, JJ, and that's the thing is when no one's running the show, the TV folks are the ones who run the show. And that's the case. ESPN, Fox, they're the ones pulling the trigger on, hey, here's what we're going to do. And the thing that I like about the idea of this is be done on January 1st. Be done. Because now the year starts over, and you got to get straight back to work, by the way. These guys have to get straight to work. And like he said, and what the TV folks will never do is get involved with how to figure out the tampering. the transfer portal mess.
No, that's
they just go.
That's a different conversation because
the
there's no governing body right now with any teeth over college football. The NCAA is a joke. No one pays any attention to them anymore. They're irrelevant. They're not enforcing anything. So who runs the show from that perspective? And that goes into the conversation we start having about what you're talking about with tampering, what he mentioned, signing day. Why in the world is signing day on the same week as championship week?
Right.
Doesn't make any sense.
No.
And then why do we have a situation like we did with Kalani Sitake on Monday and Tuesday, the week of a championship week, when BYU is getting ready to play the biggest game of the year? What went on was fine. That's business. Why did it have to happen then? And it just doesn't seem right that needs to happen then. That doesn't happen in the NFL. You don't have Mike Tomlin getting ready for a playoff game, and then everyone's talking about he's having negotiations with I don't know, the Ravens to become their next head coach. You know what I mean? That's silly. That's stupid.
Yep.
Why does it happen in college football every year? Why do we have the Lane Kiffin drama? And maybe people are like, well, that's what makes it so great. And trust me, ESPN loves it.
Oh,
but is it for the good of the game? I say no, it's not.
I saw that Marty, what's his name from ESPN, telling the story about him running down Lane Kiffin, finally getting that interview on the tarmac, and how he did it. He basically drove around a police barricade in the dirt in a rental van.
Yeah.
And Lane Kiffin watched the whole thing from a distance and kind of laughed at him, and he told the whole story. And I thought, what a weird freaking thing that Lane Kiffin is orchestrating, like, I'll give you this interview, I'll be on the tarmac.
Like a reporter's willing to commit a crime in order to talk to him.
Right, and he thought it was great. He's like, you did a great job getting over here. Lane Kiffin.
Who's kind of a,
kind of, come on. What's great is today, there's receipts, right? Like his players, remember when he said
he lied
a ton. He said he was like, oh, yeah, they wanted me to stay, and they begged the administration to let me stay. All the people in the meeting were like, dude, as soon as you said you were leaving for LSU, like, get the heck out of town. No, but he's like, by the way, no one in that room wanted to keep you. The players were saying that today. They're like, no one in that room wanted you to stay after you said you were leaving. Oh, please coach us the rest of the way, though. This is a guy who could potentially make $1 million that his new employer will have to pay him.
Right.
If those players who now he's public enemy number one for them, and so is the alleged long list of co-eds down in Oxford who are also coming up with receipts and going.
A lot of stories are going to come out about Lane Kiffin.
Fake
in Oxford.
dog that he showed up to the stadium with that he never actually had to feed or lived at his house.
Creepy guy at a hot yoga class.
Yeah, creepy guy in your DMs. Like, by the way, this is the guy who we are propping up during this week and who found a different job.
What are we doing with
while
that?
His team is still playing? It's just so weird. So do we call up Nick Saban and go, can you be the college football czar like we talked about before?
College football needs a commissioner.
You need a commissioner because right now the NCAA doesn't even have rules for you. And when somebody could come together and go, hey, Coach Saban, I think we should do this. Coach Saban is he's a lot of things, but he's not dumb. And he wants excellence. And right now this calendar is not excellence.
No, it isn't.
And the way things are done are not excellence. It's just cobbled together. It's this weird dog pile of just fighting for that scrap, and and then we're allowing a group of biased individuals to get together in Texas and to decide the fate of college football's playoff based off of really nothing in particular. And so it feels broken, and I hope they get a commissioner soon. And the NCAA has already not been a part of any of this for a long time. So get somebody in there who actually will have some teeth, that you can punish some teams for breaking tampering rules.
There just needs to be order.
Yes, make it happen. Get Saban in here, and let's get this thing going. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. When we return, we have a top 10 you don't want to miss. So stay right here with us. We have tons to talk about today coming up around the corner here, the top of the hour. We're going to have Mitch Harper, our BYU insider for KSLSports.com, who will be down in Arlington, of course, this week covering that Big 12 championship game. But we're going to talk to Mitch about the overarching theme of what came out of Provo yesterday, what he learned about this, and the state of the football program now with an extended head coach in Kalani Sitake, and what that athletic department pulled off yesterday, which is coming across as a pretty big coup, considering that Penn State today, fans are punishing that athletic director for saying, you fumbled this thing with Kalani, didn't you? So, interesting stuff. We'll come back. We've got more to go. Stay with us. 97.5 KSL Sports Zone.
It's another battle for the Aggies, and the KSL Sports Zone has it covered. Utah State looks to overcome another heart-wrenching loss as Bronco Mendenhall and the Aggies are going bowling. Your home for all the play-by-play coverage of Aggie football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You're locked on to JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us today on the program. We appreciate you being a part of our broadcast as always. And if you want to download any podcast, wherever podcasts are found, or download our podcast, wherever podcasts are found, you can find them right there. You can go to the KSL Sports app. You can go to the KSL Sports website. Click on the banner there and listen in live and stream it on YouTube as well on the KSL Sports channel. We are out here on the road live at the ballpark at America First Square, and another track train coming right into the station right here next to a beautiful full location of just everything going on in one place. The holiday lights are all set up on the ballpark field. You've got lights surrounding the entire place. The ice skating rink is up and running. You've got the Megaplex Theater next to us here. We're sitting on the concourse at the ballpark where we were earlier this summer, JJ, for the very first game of or the opening night on B season, and it was we're right next to the miniature golf outdoor area here, where all the holes are named after the reindeer, Santa's cute reindeer. So perfect setup here. Ty Wardle joins us on the program. Of course, Ty is the general manager for the Salt Lake Bees. Ty, hey man. We're getting a lot more use out of this ballpark than just some baseball games, man. How are things?
Yeah, it's great. The last time I talked to you, I was sitting right next to where you guys currently are. And I think we promised the community we're going to use this ballpark 365 days a year. So I'm glad you're sitting out there in the middle of winter enjoying what's going on.
Yeah, Ty, it's just been awesome to see this whole development. This park is just a gem, and then you see everything around it. When you guys initially were in the planning phases, what shaped your vision of making this not just a ballpark but an entertainment district?
Yeah, with a great question. We toured the country, just wanted to make sure that we did it right. And so there's a couple shining examples throughout the country. One of those, most notably, where the Braves play, and they call it the Battery. And so we tried to mimic what they did out there, and it was just full activation all year round, things to do for the community, things to do for people that love baseball, and obviously things for the people that don't love baseball, just want something fun to do that's memorable for the family. And so that's kind of what the inspiration was behind the development as a whole, but especially with what you guys are dealing with right out there right now with the holiday lights, is just something fun for everyone. So that's what we're trying to achieve.
Well, it's a beautiful location, of course, and then on top of it, there's also just growth going around the entire ballpark as well, still on top of the fact that we're in downtown Daybreak, and you've got all these beautiful residences that we were just chatting also, I think, with Elizabeth Gray, who is part of the real estate team with Larry H. Miller, and it was like she's like, hey, 21 years Daybreak opened up, and I'm like, man, it hasn't seemed like it's been that long because this all feels pretty brand new, but this area right here is brand new, but it's also addressing the growth that's happening in this part of the valley. What's been the response of having the ballpark right here in downtown Daybreak and having the team right here? Obviously, anytime you move a team around, people start to look around and go, whoa, what's going on here? But the ballpark is beautiful. What's the community response been like this first season?
Yeah, it's been amazing. We felt a ton of community support throughout the year, and people showed up. One of the things that we heard from people in the community, though, was like, we didn't know that this was out here and this was going on, and these are the things that were happening out here in South Jordan, out in Daybreak. And so making sure everyone aware of what's going on out there is top of mind for us. And then when the people come out and experience it, they're just kind of blown away by the things that we're offering. So like Liz said, it's been out there for 21 years, but when you plop down a new ballpark, the ballpark in America First Square, exciting things are happening around it. So I think one of those condos in right field that has your name on it there.
Oh yeah, perfect. Yeah.
What's the deposit I got to put down for one of those?
I was going to say that's not a bad view up there.
That's prime real estate. Let me tell you.
That's how you get that.
Reminds me of what are the Wrigley Field? Aren't there people that can watch games?
Yeah, the rooftop folks that are out there. I'll tell you what, it's cool. It's a way better season ticket because you can live there. All right,
there you go.
That's what you do.
We'll get you on the list. We'll get you on the list. We'll call you shortly when they're done.
Ty, well, congrats on the ballpark not just being a fixture for the baseball fix that we have here in our community, and we hope, of course, to have an even bigger, footprint when it comes to the baseball side of things in the future when it comes to sports in this state.
It's just getting started.
It's just getting started. We're excited about it, and this is a gem out here at Downtown Daybreak. So thanks for hanging out with us, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. It's fun for everyone out there. Thanks for being out there with us.
Absolutely. There you go. Hey, all you have to do, if you want to come see the holiday lights, it's open every day. Out here at the ballpark at America First Square every day except for Christmas, 5 to 10. Get tickets, and on the 10th or on the 11th of December, you show up with a can of food to donate, and you're going to get in. You can see the holiday lights that day with just that donation getting in the door right there with it. And it's just beautiful. It's set up awesome out here. And come check it out for yourself. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Mitch Harper, our BYU insider for KSLSports.com, is going to give us a little bit of a rundown on how this thing's going to go with this brand new Kalani Sitake extension and what that looks like, the sigh of relief, of course, in heard across Provo, because this thing was huge yesterday. Mitch is going to join us in just a few minutes as well. You can nominate the Hercules Hero of the Week that the person who does an awesome job with the volunteer side of things. Excuse me, when it comes to JJ, what'd you just do, man?
Did I do that to you?
No, I saw PK got choked up. I saw PK got choked up. PK's rolling up for the.
PK gets emotional when he sees PK.
No, I know. It's a Christmas party, so PK's here. So anyway, you can nominate the Youth Sports Volunteer Hercules Hero of the Week. Our program, we love that association we have with Hercules First Federal Credit Union and Beehive Meals, who sponsor this great program. So just go and nominate someone today, and we'll read those off as we do every week tomorrow. We'll come back. Mitch will join us next, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.
Let's go! Complete game coverage of the Cougars is right here on the KSL Sports Zone. It's a Big 12 title game showdown for Kalani Sitake and the Cougars as they square off against Texas Tech for a spot in the college football playoff. Exclusive Big 12 title game coverage on the Zone is presented by JCW's, the Burger Boys, quality and a lot of it. You're locked on to JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Woo!
Today is a day. This Boston song was actually on one of our highlight films from high school. And my coach had like a Boston, he had like a Boston obsession. And so I can picture the plays that are running on that highlight film in high school.
So your memories are attached to this
100%. This and Bust a Move was also on that. My coach was a weirdo, but I will tell you that those were Young MC's Bust a Move, one of my favorite songs in the history of mankind, and also on one of our highlight films, and you're watching guys make tackles while Young MC and Boston are blasting on this tape. Brings back great memories. Hey, Alex Napolis, go ahead and play some Young MC on the way back, and we'll see if we can keep our jobs after this. Hey, welcome back to the program. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. And we got tons going on here, of course, in the state of Utah when it comes to the sports world. We were just talking about how we had a discussion last hour with Mike Folta, the radio play-by-play voice of the Utah Mammoth. And we're jumping in now to talk about how big – we were just talking with Ty Wardle, who's the general manager of the Bees, and how big baseball has been and could become here in the state of Utah going forward. And I think that low-key – not low-key, but in a big way – yesterday could have quietly been one of the biggest moments in the state of Utah sports history for at least one big fan base, because you talk about signing up a guy for as long as they're going to get Kalani signed up. And I think just as important was also not just extending him, but rejecting a big program to do it, and then signing up your assistants and then getting the NIL support. That is able to put the possibility of some stability at a college football program that needed a revamp, I think, in a way. And it's been a crazy last 48 hours. It's been a crazy last couple of years for BYU football, JJ.
Not just the stability that it presents, but the ability to compete moving forward.
Oh, yeah.
How in the world you're staring at this juggernaut Texas Tech on Saturday, and we're sitting here trying to figure out how is BYU going to beat this team?
Right.
Because they're so good. And the reason they're so good is they were able to go out and buy players, essentially, being honest, that are really, really good. And how are you going to keep up with that?
Yeah.
Well, what happened yesterday gives BYU the ability to compete with them financially.
Yes, and that's and 1 year could make a difference. If that money
100%.
can make a difference in 1 year. Joining us on the program right now, top of the hour here. Let's kick off things, of course, as we always like to do with the cut, top of the hour. Mitch Harper, our BYU insider. Let's get right to him.
It's time to get the inside info on BYU with Cougar insider Mitch Harper of KSLSports.com on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Trajan Wealth brings you this portion of the program, TRAJANwealth.com, for all your trusted local needs in retirement. The cut this hour brought to you by Trajan. Mitch Harper, quite a busy last 72 hours here. It's been a lot to cover this team, football and basketball-wise. Good time to be covering this team, Mitch, because these programs have signed up for long-term with their two biggest sports, with the most financial support that not only has this program ever seen, but most programs in the country have ever seen. How historic was a day like yesterday to get Kalani signed up for as long as they got him?
Appreciate you having me on, guys. And, yes, it was a historic evening for BYU last night. I'd say it was the biggest moment for BYU since the invitation to the Big 12 Conference, because BYU was able to, in a sense, leverage a blue blood brand and now say they want to become that too, and maybe, show their power and their potential as a athletic department and football program, that they're all in and they're going to be competing at a really high level. And then you follow up that with a top 20 recruiting class nationally that just officially signed Ryder Lyons, the highest rated recruit in the Kalani Sitake era. BYU football, BYU sports in general are invested at a level that I don't think anyone ever saw coming. I know, in my time following BYU, you thought it was possible that they had more money than maybe they put off because they were always running in the black as an athletic department. But this is a whole nother level. And BYU is, and I think they got the right guy to lead really what will be another era of BYU football with Kalani Sitake, because I pointed to this often, but every time that he's had a moment like this or made a change, it's always leveled up the BYU program. When he, was looking for a contract extension or some stability in 2019, BYU followed it up with a big 2020 season in the COVID year. And then 2021, he had actually two contract extensions, one before the Big 12 invite, and then 1 month later, after getting that Big 12 invite and adjusting to what was going to be the new landscape for BYU. I think BYU's done quite well in the early years of the Big 12, and now it's looking to become one of the top programs in the Big 12 and really go chase national championships. When you're talking about this sort of financial commitment of the reported $9 million a year to a coach, you're looking to win at the highest level. And, when getting recruiting classes like you did today, you get that over, 2 or 3 recruiting cycles paired up with transfer portal guys and having the resources in NIL and rev share, you're going to be in the mix to get some really talented football players, and that's going to give you a chance to, break through the ceiling and get into the playoff and do some big things.
You mentioned one of those players and those big names that BYU can now go out and get, and that's Ryder Lyons. Earlier in the day, it sounded like there was a potential for him not to sign today. It sounds like he did. What do you know about his situation, and did pen get to paper?
Yeah, it's official. Ryder's locked in, and he had a visit this past weekend to BYU. He had multiple visits. He's been pretty locked into BYU throughout the process, but with the Penn State situation and Kalani Sitake, that left a little uneasiness for pretty much this entire class, because these are recruits that could go to a lot of different places. BYU lands, 6 4-star prospects in this cycle, one of which is Lyons, who initially was a 5-star and is now a 4-star prospect. But he's got a huge arm. He's talented. And but that uneasiness with Sitake, and the relationships that Lyons formed with places at Oregon, and, Will Stein goes to Kentucky, you probably have to listen to things, but ultimately BYU was the place for him, and he made it official at his high school in what was a lengthy press conference where his high school coach was taking the microphone. I'm like, let's let the players maybe speak here, but nonetheless, it's done now, and BYU still got 2 days with the early signing period, but right now they've got 19 signees, and what's far and away the best class on paper in the Kalani Sitake era.
Well, I was talking about the Ryder Lions situation and the flex that these guys have been. I watched like a handful of like 4- and 5-star guys who had their announcements today, and the announcement was they stood up and said, "I'm not signing today," and then everyone's like, "Ah!" And I'm like, "This is the weirdest time we've ever been."
Flex.
It's
weird flex.
It is like the weirdest thing to watch these guys, because all they're saying is I'm open for business, right? Like, I mean, that's essentially what they're saying. I'm still, hey, keep the bidding war going. And now the early signing period, it's like now it's just become a time where people can go all the way up until February. I'm available for my agents and my family to be hit up. So it's a strange time, obviously, covering the sport. But when you talk about this, I went on another Lubbock radio station today, and I was talking to these guys about this actual matchup, and it hasn't fallen on. This is a same thing. They had McGuire get extended for 7 more years. Kalani's going to get extended for was it another 6? Is that what they ended up talking about from a time frame perspective? Did they say how long? I know that the money thing is not something that gets talked about, but how long is Kalani going to be signed up then for officially? Do we know?
They have not revealed that at all on that front, which again is kind of a new order for BYU. Used to be they'd always release at least the length of the time, but that's now fallen under the private matters of BYU as well now.
That's interesting. Well, either way, the folks in Lubbock are excited about Joey McGuire. Everybody's excited about Kalani here in Utah. If you're a BYU fan, what does it mean having a couple of those bigger names in these big programs who are playing in the title game to have their coaches extended? Obviously, places that really love having them.
Well, I think it's huge for the conference because you're going to expect it to have a sold-out crowd. It should be a great atmosphere, and you got 2 programs that I think could be the top programs in the league going forward, at least from a resources standpoint. And you got 2 coaches who are really likable, and I think these are guys that could really be the face of the Big 12 for a league that's desperate to really get those brands that just always get respected on an annual basis. Maybe they give them the best chance, and this could be the first sign of that maybe new look Big 12 and what could be one of the great matchups in this league. So I think it's going to be an awesome setting, and I think that these 2 coaches, I think they're the perfect fits too for what this modern landscape of college football looks like, where I think you get guys, they're able to retain their roster, and I think that's been a huge thing for Kalani Sitake, and you've seen it with Joey McGuire, because it started out slow for him with 7 and 8 win seasons. Kalani's had a lot of success retaining personnel, and if you can get guys from all walks of life, it just can't be return missionary BYU local guys. It has to be a wide net. You have to recruit national, and Kalani said as much, that they've always recruited national, but now it's you got to have a national view of the recruiting landscape. Definitely block off the state of Utah, but get players from that really can fit your program and then retain them. And if you get them at BYU, I think you got a great chance with Kalani and this staff with the stability that they've had and now will have going forward. It gives you a great chance to retain rosters, and that's kind of half the battle, because I think a lot of this movement is uneasiness that with the possibilities of just kind of almost resetting clocks, whether it's players or coaches, they're on the move to almost reset their timeline to get a little bit more, earning power for a few more years if they're feeling pressure at a certain school, whether it's, again, a player or a coach. So this BYU program seems to have a lot of stability right now, and that allows for a great situation to retain talent.
I think it's the most college football thing ever that we're talking about: coaching movement, college football playoff rankings, controversies, and signing days during championship week.
When
we should be talking about the dang game.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk about that dang game on Saturday. And it's interesting, Mitch, I don't think anybody outside of BYU's locker room gives them a chance on Saturday. They're big underdogs in this game. We saw what happened the first time around. How are things different on Saturday for BYU?
The key has got to be, I think, BYU's ability to get big plays through the air somehow, some way. They got to find an ability to Bear Bachmeier's got to be able to connect with the receivers and make some big plays happen. And maybe that's just short passes, and Kingston and Roberts, they show off that speed and can pop off a big one and, put BYU in a situation to have, a manageable, drive where it's only, 3 plays, 75 yards, and you're scoring a touchdown. Because, I think LJ Martin's, being healthy in this matchup compared to the first meeting in Lubbock, I think that gives reason for optimism too, because LJ was banged up and he even admitted as much that he wasn't fully confident in that shoulder. But I still, with how good Texas Tech's rush defense is, I think anything more than 90, 100 yards. I mean, if LJ could get to that, that's outstanding against this defense that barely gives up anything. If he could be in that territory, and then you pair it up with some big chunk yardage through the air, BYU might have a shot. I think if you're going to win this game, you got to get to maybe 20 points, 21 points somehow, some way. How do you get there? That's going to be challenging. It could be the first to 20 because I think BYU's defense will show up. I think they're going to play really well, and they'll have some additional personnel for this game. Guys like, Justin Kirkland in the interior of the defensive line, they'll be available to play. He's a guy that they're redshirting this year, but in the postseason, you can play these guys, and it doesn't count towards that total number of games allowed for a redshirt for. So these don't count. So you got a little bit more depth going into this game. I think BYU's defense will show up, and I think they'll be a little more stout stopping the run, potentially. I think these are the best running backs in the league in both sides of both of these teams with LJ Martin and Dickey. But, I think BYU's offense, if they can find a way to get to 21 points, they can have a shot and be kind of in that position to maybe pull that upset. But it's going to be tough because, I think this is the best defense that BYU has gone up against in the Kalani Sitake era, and I don't expect them to be anything different than what they look like in Lubbock. So BYU's offense has to be outstanding, and BYU's offensive line has got to give enough time to allow Bear to get off those passes quick, and then those receivers with that speed got to make some plays happen.
Mitch Harper, BYU insider for KSLSports.com. What's the difference between playing in Arlington and playing in Lubbock? I mean, a lot has been made about, what do they call the stadium? They just call it the Jones, right? Wasn't that what the one of the beat writers was telling us earlier? Yeah, over at the Jones. Not playing there, obviously, is a big deal. This is a sold-out game. It's the most expensive conference championship game ticket that's out there on the market right now between BYU and Texas Tech, and yet it's a 2-touchdown difference between those two in the books. But my question for you is, what is this environment going to be like on Saturday, and then what exactly has to happen to be able to see this BYU fan base kind of not just show up because, obviously they want to have that there, but it's going to be one of the most I think it's a sold-out game, and it's going to be one of the most attended of any Big 12 championship game ever.
Definitely. I mean, I would expect that Texas Tech will probably outdraw BYU, but I'm sure BYU fans will have a strong showing. And I'm really curious to see how BYU as a team really comes out of the gates in this game, because I get the sense from this group after last night and this week that they are just there is a lot of momentum now that Kalani chose them again. And, he always wanted to be at BYU, but to turn down a blue blood like Penn State and to say, I want to coach you guys, I think that gives BYU a lot of momentum. Now, you still got to stop Romello Height and David Bailey and Texas Tech's Heisman candidate Jacob Rodriguez. That's going to be a tall task, but I get the sense that BYU is just going to show a lot better, and then it becomes, if they lost by a touchdown, you'd like to think that could maybe negate the anchoring down of their ranking in the playoff, because then they were a lot more competitive the second go round on a neutral field against one of the best teams in college football. And could that be enough to give them a bump? I think I already know the answer, but I'd like to live in a world where maybe there's a chance where there's something of an at-large path for BYU to get in this field. But I think it's going to be an amazing atmosphere, and I think it's a huge moment for the Big 12, because 2 years ago when they had Texas and Oklahoma State, that was a massive crowd, but it was basically just Texas. And then last year, first year of the 16-team era, it was a ghost town in AT&T Stadium. You're thinking, man, this new look Big 12, it is a shell of its old self without Texas and OU. So this just says, hey, Texas and OU, you're gone, but things are still good in the Big 12. There's still passionate fan bases that are ready to pony up big prices to fill up an NFL stadium that is, world renowned, like Jerry's World. I mean, that kind of reset the whole market of what stadiums are in today's professional landscape, and to sell that thing out is huge. So I think from an optics standpoint, it's great for the Big 12 that, hey, this is big-time football played in this league, even though the powers that be in the sport want to put them down. It's a big game, and it's for BYU especially. It's probably the biggest in definitely the Kalani era, and I'd say maybe in the 21st century. And I think it's massive for Texas Tech too. It's their first conference championship game, so it's a huge game.
Mitch Harper, BYU insider for KSLSports.com. When do you go down to Arlington, Mitch?
Leaving tomorrow, and then Friday there'll be some BYU Fan Fest and some other Big 12 events and things like that, and then getting ready for the game, and we'll have a pregame show on Friday night on News Radio, so it's going to be a busy weekend in Texas.
Love it, Mitch. Thanks for your coverage, as always. Thanks for coming on the program. We safe travels down there. We're looking forward to hearing from you down there.
You bet, guys. Take care.
There you go, Mitch Harper.
He's going to get some barbecue without me.
He's cheating on you barbecue-wise?
Oh, yeah.
He's going to get some barbecue
Him
without
and Sam
me.
Farnsworth are going to grub out, and I'm
going to
be jealous. Yeah.
They'll probably hit up Hurtado's.
Hurtado's is amazing.
It's legit.
A Mexican flair with the barbecue.
So good that we sat through 110.
Kick and spice.
We sat through 110 degrees with no air conditioning in that
with
place.
With the meat sweats.
With the meat sweats.
No problem with that.
It was phenomenal. So if you could tell anything about JJ and I, we like food, and we like to talk about food. All right, we'll take a break. We got more to go around the corner. Let's get things kicked off here, and we'll come right back. We got more to go. Stay here at 97.5, the KSL Sports Center.
All the latest news and notes from the league and the locals in the NFL. JJ and Alex bring you the NFL Blitz on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex, Kirry, Jeremiah, Jensen, and you. Thanks for being a part of the program, everybody. JJ. The NFL Roundup here as we get you going here. It's a Wednesday. The league is taking a back seat for us a little bit. Why? Because of all the goings-on, of course, across the world of college football and some of the craziness that we've seen. But NFL's still king. I told you before, the number that we saw on that football game that was watched on Thanksgiving was the largest in-season, regular season game on television seen by America ever. That Cowboys and Chiefs game pulled in 58 million viewers. Give us some perspective as to how that kind of really, like a 58 million person viewership on that game that happened on Thursday. That, by the way, I looked at it and I watched it for a minute. I didn't think it was anything special. It was a Thanksgiving Cowboys game. That's why it was on my TV, bro.
It'll give you some perspective because we talk about college football being so big and so great, to put it into perspective, remember that Ohio State-Michigan game in 2023?
That was
tons of hype,
yes.
The emotion of everything at the end, like all that stuff, right? So that had 19 million viewers, and I think that's the highest rated regular season.
19 million?
19 million. The 2025 Ohio State-Texas game had 16.62 million viewers earlier this year. The Michigan-Oklahoma game had 9.67. So that gives you an idea. Those are big, big numbers for college football.
Yes.
The numbers you're throwing out there for the NFL?
Insane.
Are just blow that out of the water.
Of course.
It's not even close.
Yeah. Well, that's why we love it. We keep watching it, and it's the NFL. It's king, man. There's a reason that they.
It was fun. I mean, it was part of my Thanksgiving. That Packers-Lions game was great football. It was fun. Watching Jordan Love do his thing. And the Cowboys-Chiefs game, while it wasn't the best teams in the league, was very entertaining.
It was entertaining. But, again, it's also kind of a fixture. Just have the game up on the TV. On Thanksgiving, if you look up and the Lions aren't on the TV and the Cowboys aren't on the TV,
right?
then it's strange. And now the Ravens have become typically that third game that's on on most of these. But, yeah, it's crazy to watch. Next up on the old NFL Blitz here, JJ. Ben Roethlisberger actually put Mike Tomlin's name out there as a possibility of going to Penn State. Probably go win a national championship, to tell you that. Why on earth would you I don't know what the vibe is with Mike Tomlin there. People are really
Feels
upset
like it's
right now.
time for change.
Does it, though? Because
everything
here's the
has
thing.
to come to an end at some point.
Right, and I get it.
They haven't won a playoff game in how long?
It's been like 13 seasons, right?
It's a while. It's
been
a while.
But he also has never had a losing season like that.
Yeah.
We talk about that and we go, that hasn't gone. Like, that guy is historic, man, and he wins wherever he goes. Now, I will say this, though.
2015, by the way, I think is the last time they won a playoff game.
Yeah, so 10 years ago. Man, I'll tell you, though. Think how cool that would freaking be. I don't know if Mike Tomlin could do the college thing, though, right? Like, I don't know. You know what, though? Mike Tomlin is that guy. Every one of those players would run through the freaking wall for that guy, right?
Yeah.
And you'd have NIL money coming out of the ears. The guy could just focus on the coaching
Can
part.
he recruit? Does it matter in 2025?
I don't know.
2026?
You got to just fill your staff with people who can. Because can Kalani recruit? You know what I mean? The people who recruit for Kalani are on his staff, and they're phenomenal recruiters. But it's in terms of that's not me saying that Kalani doesn't recruit and have part of that job. But what it is it's definitely not his. That's not what he's at. The head coach is not asked to be the one to just be the main recruiter. That's the guy you show up. What did Nick Saban and Ms. Terry used to do? They'd host that like Sunday brunch when the recruits would come in. But they were doing it basically like a come and kiss the ring type situation.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a good setup where you kind of go, and then at the end of the recruiting weekend, we bring them in, and the parents come in. We hit the moms with the bottomless mimosas, and we got them. You know what I mean? Like that. That's where
there's an arrogance about that, but that's also an arrogance that leads you. That's why you know you're big time.
But also Nick Saban,
and the players feel that.
And Nick Saban, don't feel like
Coach Prime's been trying to do that at Colorado. He doesn't go on recruiting trips.
And I will say for Coach Prime's situation, he doesn't fill guys' ears full of bull junk.
Right.
He's a pretty darn straight shooter.
Yeah, he is.
And you got to prove it on the field. He's been the best that's ever been at his position in the league, and so he has the ability to be able to go, I know what it takes. I know what it looks like. And so and then on top of it, he's so you look at it. I just thought Mike Tomlin is a Penn State head coach. I thought, that sounds really intriguing.
Feels like a fit.
It could be a real disaster. If
better than Brian Dable, right?
Oh,
who keeps being linked to the Penn State job?
Really?
Oh yeah.
Matt Rule, his name still keeps coming up.
He just signed that extension with
Nebraska,
but
like,
which is a crazy extension. Like, why?
I can't believe these teams. Like, hey, so many programs across the country, BYU included now, need to thank Penn State for firing Ben Franklin for firing James
Braum
Franklin.
in Louisville is the latest to benefit.
Yeah,
from.
and you know what happens is that these programs show up and they go, hold on, what do you need? And at the very least, at least Kalani Sitake was almost there. Some of these coaches are just getting extended because the rumors could maybe get to them, and then these programs have to react, and that's what they end up getting. Packers-Lions Thanksgiving opener. That game pulled in $47 million on top of the 58 that the Cowboys and Chiefs got.
Pretty crazy.
A lot of people watching football that day. The Eagles, Kevin Patullo says the vandalism of the house crosses the line. This guy knows what city he's coaching at there, right?
They threw batteries at Santa. Don't think you're special because you got eggs on your house.
I don't know if it always felt like an urban myth to me.
I believe it.
But apparently, no.
I've lived there.
No, I'm saying that the urban myth that I always said, no, the batteries at Santa, we have video evidence.
Yeah.
We've seen it. Them booing Michael Irvin when he had a neck injury on his way out the door, that was quite something.
Yes.
But what was the old stadium called? The old Riverfront?
Veterans Stadium.
Veterans Stadium, yeah. Riverfront was the old
That's
Pittsburgh
Cincinnati.
one. Oh, Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So Veterans Stadium was rumored to have that. It was the only stadium in the world that had a temporary jail cell and a judge. Remember that whole thing that they would always say? And I was like, that sounds fake. And at the same time, you're kind of like, you actually probably need some of that.
Yeah.
Some rogue justice going on.
Yeah, you definitely need a cell at any
At least
Philadelphia
keep some people
sports
in it.
stadium.
Oh, yeah. All right. We'll take the break here. We'll come back. We've got our best and worst up next, and we'll get you wrapped for this hour. Stay here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Wrapping up the hour with our picks for the best and worst moments on today's show. As JJ and Alex want to hear your best and worst of the day.
All right, final segment of the hour. Thanks for being with us on the program. JJ and Alex, 97.5 VKSL Sports Zone. Tonight, program reminder, at 7 o'clock, you're going to get your Mammoth pregame. 8 o'clock, the puck drops in Anaheim. Hopefully, with this team getting back on track, of course, we're excited about that. Best and worst, brought to you by the good folks at Doug Smith and the Doug Smith brand of dealerships in American Fork, Spanish Fork, and in Linden. Nobody knows cars like Doug. Giannis Antetokounmpo, this is your best of the day. And the Bucks are discussing what that looks like going forward.
He's so out of there.
Brian Windhorst, Wendy says, and I'm assuming Napolis put this in the best because that means that there could be a massive, I mean, literally a guy whose name on the across his chest right now says Bucks, and the Jazz like to go big game hunting.
Is this the big game they want to hunt, though? He's older.
Also, Giannis has no interest in going any other place except for big markets right now. Like he wants to do
that.
He wants to do the New York, the Miami, the LA. Isn't that? Aren't those the? And that's
kind of
what
his LeBron thing
wish
with
list.
the Miami
yeah,
type
yeah,
thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's his representation came out and said, "Hey, man, these are the places he wants to go." And Salt Lake was not included in that.
Oh, shocker! He's never been to Moana Cafe.
Dude, is Chopper 5 landing right here?
It might be.
I think it actually
We're getting the party started here.
Well, I'll tell you what.
That is really close.
I love it.
It is trying to land for sure.
These are not helicopter
Is he bringing
lights.
Santa in?
Oh, you know what?
Special delivery.
So, in my former life, I had to do that one time. It was the one time I got to fly on Chopper 5. I got to visit an elementary school as a Santa's helper.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You know why? Because I was a bilingual. I can speak Spanish, and so I went to a Spanish elementary school speaking Santa-ese. Speaking Spanish like Santa.
Oh,
it was
man.
awesome. All right. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We've got more to go around the corner. Thanks for joining us here. We'll come right back. More to go. 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.